It's summer, and we all know that the athletes are busy getting ready for their upcoming seasons, but what about the ADs?
Great question, Andrew. Let's get some answers. Joining us now is the athletic director for South Warren, Chris Decker. Thanks for being here, Chris.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, as we kind of just said, I mean, we know the athletes, the football guys are probably about to get ready once the dead period ends. Soccer, you know, the athletes are probably getting ready. All the athletes, really, for the different sports. But what about the ADs? How busy are you right now? I'm sure it's not just kick your feet up. I'm sure there's probably a lot of paperwork, stuff like that. How busy is your life right now?
You hit the nail on the head as far as the paperwork goes. We're in the dead period right now, and so we get a little downtime. I was able to catch some ball games in Cincinnati and play some golf, but as soon as school was out, we finished a lot of our time tying up the loose ends from the previous school year, participation list, Title IX, those type of things. And now we're getting ready for the fall sports, physicals, making sure every kid's cleared under the physical, insurance, emergency forms, those type of things. So it's a busy time for us.
Now, do you still get called coach often? Because I find myself wanting to call you Coach Deckard. Is that the case at South Warren?
If somebody calls me Mr., they've probably done something to me or they want something. So I actually prefer coach, so that's good.
Well, I was going to ask you then, Coach Deckard, as you talk about fall sports and, of course, the spring sports wound down, finishing off last school year. For you guys, a lot was going on, but particularly with the baseball program winning the region championship. What was that like for such a young program and for you from the administrative side?
Well, you know, not only did that obviously help the baseball program, but that helped our whole school. And I'm sure you've heard, you know, some South Warren people say that several times, but Coach Gage made a great point that we're just not trying to build a team, we're trying to build a program, and that's exactly what we're trying to do with the sports. We have a lot of kids that play baseball that play a couple sports, so those guys have developed a winning mentality. They expect to win. They've been in regional finals. They've been in state semifinals or state quarterfinals, I should say. So they're going to bring that winning attitude to our other sports. So it's big, you know, just not for baseball, but for the whole school also.
And what's that like during these summer months? You said a lot of paperwork and physicals and things like that. I mean, I got to imagine it's a little bit different being a coach and you stepped into the BAD and with all these kind of the summer busy work, probably what it is. What's that like just trying to get through it and get ready for the season?
You know, I haven't been at school much during the dead period, but before the dead period, I would go to work probably 2-3 hours a day. I wouldn't want to stay the whole day, but just making sure, you know, football had all their physicals. They give them to me. I go through, clear them, make sure everything's good. Not only are we doing the physicals and those type of paperwork, but we have transfers that we're dealing with too. You know, every year we get new kids. You know, sadly we lose some kids also. So you want to try to get those transfers done as quick as you can because it takes a while to get those taken care of. We have to send them to Lexington. They have to send them back. So the last thing you want is a kid waiting on eligibility to be cleared. So we try to clear that off as quick as we can. But, you know, there's just a plethora of things we have to work on. Our coaches do a great job as far as their budgets and equipment. I don't have to mess with that too much. But just the other stuff. But that's my job. That's what I want to do. And I want to try to take that burden off them if I can.
Well, Coach, I know every sport presents different challenges from scheduling officials to getting venues, preparing for the playoffs. Is there any, whether it's seasonal, the fall sports versus, say, winter sports, or any particular sport that really presents some challenges for the ADs?
The fall is really rough. We have, you know, football, volleyball, cross country, boys, girls golf. Yeah. So it's a lot of things to do in the fall. Winter's not so bad because mainly you've got, you know, just the basketball and the swimming. Spring presents some challenges for the weather, cancellations and such. But again, our coaches do a good job of that, and we have good assigning secretaries to help cover that. So we're fortunate that we have good people in place to take care of those things.
We touched on spring a little bit with that coming up. I think bass fishing is going to be a spring sport. Are you guys going to have a team? Are you guys trying to field a team? What I know maybe for some schools it's tough. It's like, where do we go and practice? Yep. I mean, where are you guys looking at for that?
Currently, we're not looking to do anything with that. You've put me on the hot seat there with that. But currently, we're not going to do bass fishing at this point. I know Warren East has as a club. On down the road, that may be something that we look at. Definitely we'll look at it, but currently we're not. It's not in the plans for us to do. You know, we just had it bowling. I was kind of a skeptic about that. I'm so glad we did it because it turned out to be a great sport for the kids.
Well, I got to imagine it's got to be tough, you know, having to decide, okay, they're making a sport, but that doesn't always necessarily mean you maybe in the budget have room or whatever, what have you, to be able to fund it and do it right away.
Right. Of course, with bass fishing, certainly not in the budget to buy bass boats, but, you know, the problem there is that you have to find volunteers. You have to have boat captains. You have to have volunteers to get the boat. So maybe, like I said, maybe it's something that we can look on down the road, but it's just not in the cards for us, I guess you might say right now.
Well, and Coach Decker, now that you guys, we talked about the baseball championship, and obviously you've had success in other areas. The football team made the playoffs last year. Do you still feel like kind of the new kid on the block, or now that you're a couple years in, do you kind of feel like you've gotten your legs under you?
Well, some sports we do. We've had success in some sports. Some sports haven't been so successful, but those are the sports where we were realistic. We knew that we would struggle there for a while. And when we first opened, myself and Mr. Cook, our principal, we kind of looked, at 4 or 5 years down the road, let's be competitive in everything. And we've been competitive in a lot of things, not everything yet. So, we got the coaches in place to do so. We've got the resources in place. Now we just got to keep getting better at those sports.
What's the biggest difference between looking at a sport as a coach and, rooting on the kids, and then as an AD where you're maybe not just focused on one sport, but you I'm sure try to get out to all the sports?
Well, that's what's so neat. When I was at Greenwood, I was with the baseball and the football programs. Of course, if basketball lost or something, you say, oh, well, shoot, they lost. We'll get them next time. Now as the AD, the JV golf program was important to me as the varsity football. And I do take pride in that. I try to give each sport their due attention, and I think I do a good job with that. But it really keeps you competitive. I find myself cheering at a tennis match now, whereas before I'm not ever sure I went to a tennis match. So that's what I really enjoy about it, is getting out, getting to see the kids participate in all the other sports, and it's fun. I learn a lot watching the other sports as well.
One particular sport you're excited to watch this upcoming year? Is there one, like if you're like, man, this team I think could really...
Maybe it's just because it's football season coming up, but I'm really excited about our football program. We 4-6 last year, go to the playoffs. We've got about 70 kids out in summer workouts right now. Now, that doesn't mean those 70 are going to show up when we put the pads on in a couple weeks, but really excited with the direction of the football program.
All right, well, we appreciate you stopping by.
Guys, thanks for having me.
Thanks,
appreciate
Coach.
it.
Time for a quick break. Stick around. You're watching Sports Connection.